You're listening to Beyond Wellness Radio, bringing you the cutting edge in health, biohacking, and sports performance. Stay up to date and listen anywhere and anytime on your computer, tablet, or smartphone by subscribing on iTunes. Catch your host, Dr. Justin Marchegiani, as he answers your burning health questions as well as interviews from world-renowned guest experts. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.
Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marchegiani. Welcome to Beyond Wellness Radio. Feel free and head over to beyondwellnessradio.com where you can access our full podcast transcriptions. While you're there, you can also sign up for our thyroid and female hormone video series. This series goes into the root cause of why your hormones are out of balance. While you're there, you can also schedule a functional medicine consult with Dr. Justin, myself, where we'll dig deeper into the root cause of your health challenges. Feel free and think of sharing this podcast with at least one person. This podcast grows by people sharing it. Sharing is caring. If you can think of one person that can benefit from this information, please feel free and share it. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes. You can also click below the video or podcast where you'll see the iTunes review button and leave us a review. You can also sign up for the newsletter at beyondwellnessradio.com where you'll get updates before anyone else. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. Evan Brand, my man. Dr. J here. What's going on?
What's up? I'm drinking a smoothie.
Love it. Hey, it's Friday. We just had Paleo FX last weekend. We missed you down here in Austin.
I know. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. I heard you did amazing things there, so spreading the word.
Spreading the word. I hear you also got some amazing things coming maybe in the next week.
Yeah, this baby's coming soon. I don't know when. Yeah, people that have been listening to my show, they should know, but the baby's due in like a week here, so Hannah just had some really spicy guacamole. She thought that was going to throw her into labor.
Oh, gosh. So what's your strategy? Do you guys have a birthing plan? Are you trying to go midwife and do a more natural approach?
Yeah, we got a midwife. We have a doula, so she's going to be helping us to basically prevent Hannah from requesting any interventions that may be unnecessary. So we're doing it at a hospital that's mainly a birthing hospital that's focused, like the entire floor is dedicated to only moms.
Wow.
And the recovery room in the recovery floor is only dedicated to moms that just had babies. So that's a huge relief for me because I hate hospitals. They freak me out. And I would like to stay away from antibiotic resistant bacteria as much as possible. And hospitals are the best place to pick one of those things up. So
absolutely.
So yeah, that's what's up with that.
Well, best of luck with you and Hannah next week.
Thank you.
It's going to be very exciting.
I know.
Very cool. So any other thoughts today? I mean, we talked about in the pre-show that we were going to really touch upon inflation. Inflammation.
We can hit on that too.
We can hit upon that too. Inflammation is basically inflation is inflammation of the financial industry, so to speak. But We're doing it on the body today. Inflammation, which kind of to give you the whole tenet of that word. Basically, your body is going into accelerated breakdown, right? You're breaking down faster than you're building up. Now, in conventional medicine and functional medicine, we have all these different cytokines and TNF-alpha and interleukins and C-reactive protein, all these different markers that we can test for that tell us that we're breaking down. But typically pain and brain fog and fatigue and digestive issues and performance issues and mood issues, for the most part, are always a good sign that you're inflamed.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it really necessary for us to test for inflammation? In my opinion, it could be a good thing to check in on, don't you think, in terms of blood? But if we just put in the foundations that we're going to talk about today, then we're going to be working on restoring that inflammatory cascade that's happened in the first place.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to quantify, because if we see CRP above 1 or fibrinogen above 300 or homocysteine above 8 or 9, or we see, let's say, increasing calprotectin or lactoferrin or various lysozymes, or, IgA is very, very high, and this is some of the gut inflammation markers, that there's something going on in the gut, something going on in the body, and it's great to be able to provide an intervention, whether it's adrenal, diet, lifestyle, blood sugar, and removing of infections and dysbiosis, and see those markers come down. It's like you really know that we did something. It's tangible.
What about something simple too, like white blood cell count that most people are going to get on their standard CBC from their doctor if their doctor's not running the biomarkers that actually matter can that be helpful too? Because we'll see maybe there's some type of active infection that we're trying to fight or something like that.
Yeah, so I touched upon that briefly with the IgA, which is a kind of like immune antibody that's like in that white blood cell realm. But like total white blood cell, yeah, if we see it like below 4, that could be a sign of a chronic issue, chronic infection, immune issue. Or if it's above 7.5 or so, that could be an active infection that our body's fighting. And again, typically there's going to be inflammation as the byproduct of that.
Right. Well said.
Cool, man. The big thing is, I think, off the bat, we want to do our best to reduce inflammation because that's going to accelerate aging, right? All these people today are spending all this money, the older they get, on helping to look younger, right? Well, don't look to some kind of lotion or potion first. Look to things that you can do to reduce inflammation. And that would just start with the diet first, cutting out a lot of the crappy inflammatory foods. Grains are going to be number one. Maybe your conventional dairy right there with it. And then extra refined sugar or excess carbohydrates would be right there behind that as well.
Yep. Yeah. So I see so many people that try to promote these multi-level marketing schemes of like anti-aging products and all of that, but really just reducing this whole process like you're talking about of glycation, those AGEs that age us, the
literally
advanced
age us.
Yeah, I mean, if we can stop that whole glycation process by cutting these sugars out, then you're going to be doing the first step. And I would assume that most people listening, they've already done the diet piece. So you all here today for the really geeky stuff that we'll get into in terms of the next steps.
Yes.
What do you do after the diet's in place? How do you prevent inflammation? Do you think we should touch on adrenals and the whole cortisone balance? Is that worthy for this conversation, or should we go into like the herbs and stuff?
I think that's good. We can go through some of the adrenal and testing stuff. And I spoke on this on a panel at PaleoFX just last weekend with Dr. Jack Wolfson. He's a paleocardiologist. Also Nora, help me with her last name. Nora
Gagaudis.
Nora Gagaudis. And then also Lane Sebring and one more person on the panel as well.
Oh, man. I bet that was a blast.
Yeah, it was really, really good panel. I mean, lots of good talks about inflammation and all the other things that are going on with it. But the first thing is make sure the diet's in place, right? The diet's got to be in place. We checked that off our list. Okay, good. Anti-inflammatory, nutrient-dense, low-toxin diet. Got it. Boom.
Yep.
All right. It's not too sexy, but the diet's the most important. Good. We get the sleep dialed in. We're able to heal. We're able to help restore our body. All right. We got that piece dialed in. Well, the next is we have to make sure we're not throwing toxins into our body, things that can drive inflammation. Toxins, whether it's MSG or various chemicals from just being around toxins, or poor water that's not filtered, things like that. Those are all toxins. So we kind of mitigate the toxins coming in. That's number one. Number two, make sure we can break down our foods. If we can't break down our foods, even healthy foods can have negative effects. I've had a lot of patients this week that have chronic GI issues, and they're very sensitive to even what we consider like healthy foods. And they are reacting to it, and they shouldn't be. So we have to make sure we reduce the inflammation with them and be able to make sure they can digest their foods.
So let me ask you about that. What? So, we're not talking just infections for these patients. We're talking about people that just have maybe some malabsorption issues, but they don't have infections. Maybe they just have some gut dysbiosis, right? So if someone gets the all clear, maybe they don't have parasites, that doesn't mean that your gut's working perfectly. There's still a lot of other things that we can work on, right?
Yeah, if we have like a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or a dysbiosis, that's going to set us up to have an inability to break down food optimally because our hydrochloric acid and enzyme levels will be less. So we got to make sure that that's good, because if not, that good healthy diet may not be getting into our bloodstream and going to where it needs to go.
Right.
And that's important. Sense. We got to be able to break. Even healthy foods can have a negative reaction, especially if your gut's leaky. It's just a matter of time if you have that routine food you have every day that you'll develop a food allergy response to it.
I've got an allergy to walnuts apparently right now. So I had to cut them out. I had some the other day and I had a horrible headache afterwards. So I was like, wow.
Yeah. And it could be from, we're knocking out some infections with you. I think, what is it? The Three Amigos, Giardia, Crypto, H. pylori?
I didn't have H. pylori, thank goodness. Just the Crypto Giardia, which I'm...
Double trouble.
I'm at least 45 days in. So I'm going to go ahead and run that GI map like we talked about soon and see if I'm free and clear or not. I think I may wait another few weeks because I still have some cold hands going on.
We're also going to do the 401H too, right? Because that's what picked it up. So we got to make sure we compare apples to apples.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So we got the diet piece, because if we have like gut stuff going on, that's going to make it really hard for us to function optimally. Plus, I talked about some of those markers we look at to detect gut inflammation, right? We looked at lysozyme. That's a marker, an enzyme marker that if it's high, it can be a sign of inflammation. We talked about lactoferrin, which can go up if inflammation is present. Also, calprotectin can also go up. We can also see very, very high IgA levels or white blood cell levels. And that's a sign that our immune system is fighting something. And then, all these inflammatory cytokines, right, that I mentioned are like the byproducts, the collateral damage from the war going on inside of our body.
Yeah. Can we spend a couple minutes talking about the conventional model? Because we always go into the functional model. Like, we hope that everyone's going this way, but there is still the conventional model for inflammation. And so typically that's going to be NSAIDs. And I just did my latest video on YouTube, the Why Supplements Can Make You Feel Worse video. I talked about NSAIDs, and the number is over 10,000 people per year that are dying of regular use of NSAIDs that they're taking, probably that were prescribed from whoever, doctor or physical therapist or whatever, for the inflammation or the pain or the other symptoms they're having. These people are dying by regular dosage of this stuff. So to me, that's the big takeaway from today's talk together is, just encouraging people, look, there are other options. I remember I talked with you one day when I don't know if I had a bad headache or what all was going on, maybe headache, anxiety or something back when I was in Texas. And you were like, dude, no, the hospital is not going to help you. We need to just get some magnesium going. And so even something like that, maybe that's not considered anti-inflammatory for that case, but for an example of a headache, someone's typically going to go think inflammation. They're going to go Advil, Tylenol, ibuprofen, Excedrin, whatever. No, you may be able to do magnesium, maybe some of the turmeric, your fish oils, stuff like that.
Yeah. So off the bat, when we look at some of the conventional approaches, the over-the-counter stuff kind of go into two phases. You have like the NSAIDs, which are like ibuprofen or aspirin, those kind of things. And then you have the acetaminophen, which are like the Tylenol kind of things.
Yeah.
So acetaminophen goes more to the liver. NSAID goes more to the gut. So NSAIDs can create more gut ulceration issues. The acetaminophen can go more to the liver. So those are kind of the two different angles for the over-the-counters. And then you have the more deeper stuff like the opioid stuff, which are going to be like the OxyContin, codeine, Percocet, Vicodin, and there's some that are combined, Percocet's combined. And then you have some like Midol, which are like caffeine and ibuprofen stuff. Again, I just stick to the active ingredients, right? Because there's like 100 different, there's like 20 NSAIDs out there. There's like 20 acetaminophen, all these different names. So you have your NSAIDs, you have your acetaminophen, and then you have your various opioids to keep it simple.
And then we see just today, they finally admitted that Prince died of opioids.
Yeah.
So
what was I think it was a fentanyl overdose, wasn't it?
Yeah, fentanyl, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like an anesthetic. I know. So it's crazy. So all these things, all they do is block various enzymes to experience pain. So like NSAIDs, they are going to, like they're non-steroidal, so they're going to help block these various cyclooxygenase enzymes, COX enzymes for short.
So it's not actually resolving the issue. It's just basically changing the way that the body sends the signal to the brain. Is that right?
Yeah. So when you have inflammation, your body's going to shoot out a whole bunch of prostaglandins, prostaglandin E2 to be specific, and that's going to cause that pain sensation. And then essentially all you're doing with an NSAID is you're trying to block or inhibit those prostaglandins from being formed. The problem is the upstream action of those prostaglandins being made, that mechanism that's stimulating those prostaglandins is still happening. You're just decreasing the prostaglandins actually being synthesized. So in the end, the mechanism is still there, right?
Yep.
And then the other part is the corticosteroids. Those are like prednisone or like hydrocortisone, right? These are the actual steroids. So you have the non-steroidals, the NSAIDs, right? Then you have the acetaminophen, which is like your Tylenol, right? And then you have some of the corticosteroids, which are like prednisone or cortisone or Cortef, right? These are things that we do to help add extra ability for our hormones to be able to dissolve the inflammation. Now, again, this is why having healthy adrenal glands is so important, because healthy adrenal glands help put out the fire of inflammation, right? Imagine your adrenals as like the fire extinguisher, and imagine the fire is like the inflammation in the body. Now, ideally, we don't want to be a pyromaniac setting fires in our house every day, but let's say a little fire happens because of some stress in our lives. We want to make sure the firefighters can show up and their hoses are full of water so they can douse it out. So imagine the firefighter coming up and with empty hoses. That's like having very weak adrenals. We have a very low amount of stress can essentially burn down our house. So we want to make sure that we're not lighting fires in our house. Number one, that's reducing inflammation activities. And then number two, we want to make sure our fire hoses, our adrenals are strong, so if fires happen, we can put them out pretty fast.
Yeah, and you and I do look at some adrenal testing
Yeah.
that will show the cortisol-cortisone balance. So if you're listening and you want the general takeaway for that, basically, if you're running from a bear, or so your nervous system thinks, you're going to be more shifted into that cortisol state, and you're not going to be shifted towards cortisone. So it's like you don't even have the ability to respond to the inflammation, right? It's kind of like maybe the fireman just took the day off because there's nothing there.
Yeah, cortisone's a little bit more down-regulated. It's a metabolite of cortisol. Cortisol is more active, and then cortisone's kind of downstream a bit. So we want to make sure we have the ability to regulate inflammation. So we have it internally by our adrenal glands. We have it diet and lifestyle-wise by not putting crappy foods in, and by sleeping and doing the right kinds of exercise and taking time out to meditate or do healthy forms of exercise, right? And then we have the ability to look in deeper to chronic infections that could be driving issues. I tell my patients, you could be inflamed if you're on a beach relaxing and chilling out and meditating, eating perfect food, but if you have an internal infection like you did with your double trouble, your blasto and crypto, you may still have symptoms. So we want to make sure cryptogiardia, yeah. So we want to make sure that we have internal infections, the hidden inflammation under control.
Yeah, and that's a great point you make there. So I'm going to restate it. Is if everything seems to be making sense in terms of your diet, your lifestyle, like all of that makes sense. You have all that done. You've read all the books. You've tried all the diets. 98% of people that work with us, they're struggling. And people will be blown away at the people that are coming to us in terms of like their status, where you would think this person has it all figured out because of who they are, but they're still suffering. And a lot of times we look deeper and it's like, bingo, there it is. Isn't it kind of fun? I mean, it's not that we wish stuff upon people, but when you finally have an answer for someone's health problems they've been suffering for 20, 25 years, and then you finally find something in the gut, it's like, oh, thank God, we found something.
Exactly. Well, you just got to know physiology, and you got to know the weak links in the average person's physiological chain. And the gut and the adrenals and diet and inflammation is definitely one of those common links that breaks in everyone's chain that, will manifest in different diseases, right? But it's the same physiology that's breaking, though.
Right. So basically you're saying it doesn't really matter if your symptom sounds like it's over here in left field. With this net that we're casting, that's basically going to be a broad enough but also specific enough net to just identify the body system that is dysfunctioning.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if someone else doesn't have the exact manifestation as you. It's the same mechanism, you're saying.
Yeah, same mechanism. I mean, look at it. Any type of autoimmune condition or massive pain issue, right? What does conventional medicine do? We're going to throw prednisone at it, right? For the most part, or a corticosteroid.
What do they want to do with that? What is their actual long-term goal with that? I mean, it just seems very unsustainable.
Well, my analogy is this. There's a pyromaniac in the house that lighting fires every single day, but we're not going to go in and get the pyromaniac out of the house. We're just going to continue to douse the house with water as new fires creep up every day.
Yeah.
So Chris Kresser gave an analogy at PaleoFX. He's like, yeah, you walk around, you got a rock in your shoe, and you start feeling a lot of pain, and you start getting a blister, and you're like, shoot, I'm going to just reach for an NSAID or an ibuprofen or a corticosteroid to numb that pain. But we know the root cause is just take the shoe off and kick the rock out, right? So I think it's important because we have to have like a really good sound philosophy of why we're doing what we're doing. Because now the next step is, all right, we have natural anti-inflammatory things that we can do as well on the functional medicine / natural medicine side, which are great. But we can use these things just like drugs in a sense that we can just use them to cover up symptoms. So again, we always want to get to the root cause, right? Dr. George Goodhart, get to the highest, get the highest good is to always get to the root cause. All right. So always getting to the root cause is going to be very, very important. Now, the reason why, even if you forgot getting to the root cause, let's say you had a little brain fart and you just kind of missed that part, well, at least we're taking substances that don't kill 20,000 people a year taken properly. Some of these pain meds can kill a lot of people. And if you go back 10 years ago to Vioxx, that killed 80,000 people. So these can be some dangerous medications. So yeah, there are a lot of people out there that say, don't practice natural medicine like an allopath. I get that. I respect it. I'm 100% in agreement. But I'd rather see someone do that than take a lot of these pain meds chronically and die from it.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah. And I actually have a few females that I was talking with this week specifically that they've been on OxyContin for 10 years.
Oh, my God. That's insane.
So in their 60s, just trying to come off of this stuff. It's almost impossible. It's very troubling.
And some people, they have such a windup of inflammation that it's really hard to come off. So they have to kind of start making a lot of the diet and lifestyle changes, bring some of the natural stuff in at very high doses, and then slowly taper off over time. And then, if you're going to be on it too, we can at least do damage control and add in some milk thistle or silymarin or liver support to help support the liver if we're doing high doses of acetaminophen or these things over long periods of time.
Yeah, that was something I was going to talk with you about too, which maybe this is a tangent, maybe not, is when I looked at her organic acids test specifically with all of the pain meds in the system, all of the detox measures there on the organics, that they were all flagged really high.
Big time.
And what else was on there? There was a couple other liver markers too that were just off the charts. So anyway, long story short, I couldn't find it specifically, but it was crazy to see because you read about how these medications affect the liver, but when you actually see it on a piece of paper and you're seeing like, whoa, this is associated with liver issues. It's like, wow, this is amazing to see.
Yeah.
This is affecting you. It's not just something you read on the internet. Look, there it is in the flesh.
There it is.
That was
100%.
crazy.
I think that's great. So like with our functional medicine, non-dogmatic philosophy, right? All right, I'm going to go, let's pretend like there's been a time in the last year where I maybe drank some alcohol that wasn't the best and it maybe gave me a headache the next day. All right, so what do? I wake up, I have a little bit of a headache. Well, I take some magnesium, I rehydrate with a whole bunch of minerals, I eat a good breakfast, I stabilize my blood sugar. If my head's still pounding, well, I may take an ibuprofen, right? That may happen like once a year max. So that's kind of like triage, right? You're in the moment, you do a couple of natural things, your head's pounding, it's like, what the hell? If I take this ibuprofen, it'll be gone in a few minutes. Fine, that makes sense. What's the underlying cause? Well, the underlying cause is not something perpetual in motion. It's not a chronic issue. It's an acute thing that happened. You did your best to triage a couple of things. Didn't work. You want relief now. Fine. Not that big of a deal. All right?
Yeah.
Now, in the end, what did I learn from that? Well, if I drink some questionable alcohol, I'll bring some charcoal. I'll bring some extra vitamin C or N-acetylcysteine or some milk thistle, some liver support. Boom. Then we can get ahead of that. Sometimes we don't get ahead of it, and then we're triaging it, and then that's where maybe a conventional medicine can be great. Also, we can pull in there. Sometimes, like I find NSAIDs do work great for headaches, but if we can, we'll throw in some boswellia, or we'll throw in some turmeric or curcumin. We'll throw in some high-dose enzymes on an empty stomach. We'll throw in the enzymes. Let's see.
I like arnica.
Arnica, some homeopathic can be phenomenal. Homeopathic can be great. White willow bark, which is where acetaminophen is extracted from. Devil's claw. DLPA, which is a type of phenylalanine amino acid that has the D and the L form. So you have those off the bat. You have the enzymes. You have some turmeric. You have boswellia. You could even do ginger. You have devil's claw. You have white willow bark. All those things are great. And I actually just came out with a new curcumin. It's called Curcumin Supreme. That's a liposomal curcumin with MCT and sunflower lecithin. Again, there's one on the market right now called Mariva, which is good. It's a very good one, but it's got phosphatidylcholine from soy, so it's a liposome. But this one doesn't have the soy, so it's more sensitive for my autoimmune patients. So I was really happy to be able to formulate that.
Good job. Yeah, I thought of something else. Oh, I like how you're getting fancy with the DLPA there, coming in with the amino acid route. That's something I've used really successfully too for people with chronic pain, and they want to give up, and the aminos can be awesome. So I know you've got a video. I've got a video on aminos. I don't know if I talked about DLPA. Did you in your video?
Maybe. I mean, DLPA is a precursor to endorphin. So endorphin takes about 19 amino acids to make, and it's your natural kind of opioid, so to speak. Help blocks pain. It's a natural antidepressant. And if you have chronic gut issues and low protein absorption and you have a lot of inflammation, getting the DLPA at higher levels can really help with the beta endorphin and helping to recharge that.
So let me ask this. Can we assume and say that if there are some adrenal issues going on that we may not – it's kind of like the power plant analogy where everything may be diverted over to cortisol, so that we're going to have less ability to make optimal amounts of adrenaline and noradrenaline to deal with the pain as well? So it's like we have an issue with inflammation, but do we have an issue with pain as well because we can't make as many endorphins in adrenal fatigue situations?
Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, we'll see that on organic acid tests. We'll see very low vanilmandulate levels, or we'll even see very low homovanillate levels, which are dopamine and the noradrenaline and adrenaline markers. We'll see those very depleted because the adrenals are whipping, they're getting whipped into effect to produce more of these anti-inflammatory compounds. But also that, we also tend to see more depleted sex hormones. So our dihydroepiandrosterone pathways, DHEA for short, or andro or testosterone, those pathways start getting robbed, and we're making more stress hormones because the body's hardwired to deal with the inflammation now versus the stress and healing of tomorrow, right? So the analogy is you got some firefighters and you got some carpenters sitting out in front of the house. The house is on fire. Who goes in first?
Say that again?
You got a house that's sitting on fire, right? Out in front of the house is a carpenter, and then the other guy's a firefighter. Who goes in first?
Hopefully the firefighter.
Firefighter, right? That's our body. It's just hardwired just like that, right? We want to deal with the inflammation and stress first, and then repair and heal afterwards. So the firefighter is equivalent to cortisol and our stress hormones. The carpenter is equivalent to DHEA and our sex hormones. So the problem is most people, they live with a house on fire. So the carpenter just sits on the sidewalk, twiddling his thumbs while the fireman's in there and just continuing to trying to douse the house with a hose that's running on dry.
Yep. So basically, I feel like we've done a good job of zooming in and zooming out. It's not just one thing. It's all of this. It's the hormones. It's the DHEA. It's the cortisol. It's the cortisone. It's the leaky gut situation. It's use of the NSAIDs. I mean, I think people are, when they hear inflammation, they want one quick fix, but there's not.
Yeah.
We have to get all these systems intact.
Yeah. So let's kind of draw out our action tree. All right, number one, whatever your health issue is, let's make sure we have the root cause of it addressed, right? If it's a chronic health issue, right, we want to do the functional medicine work to dig deeper. Adrenals, guts, infections, malabsorption, nutrients. That's the deeper work because we don't know what the root cause is. We know what the root cause is now, right? It's we had a little bit too much alcohol last night, right? Well, number one, we can go grab the natural anti-inflammatories first, do all the diet and lifestyle stuff. Does it work acutely enough to triage it? Yes. Okay, we're good. If it doesn't, we may grab an NSAID. We may grab a acetaminophen or a Tylenol, right? That's kind of option number two. And then number three, we always want to have the prevention mindset. Or if we know that we're going to be in a place that we may encounter some certain things, take some extra enzymes. Maybe drink some ginger tea. Take some charcoal with you. Take some NAC. Take some extra vitamin C to support your body ahead of time so you can kind of prevent it, right? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, so to speak.
Yep.
So number one, do we have the underlying cause addressed? Number two, is it chronic? If it's chronic, you got to go the functional medicine route. Number three, if it's chronic, let's try to whittle down some of the natural. Let's try to whittle down the pharmaceuticals with some natural anti-inflammatories. Just do it supervised, so we're not doing anything rash. And then number three, let's get to the root cause of why you're inflamed.
Yep. Great summary there. Yeah, and like I said, we're assuming everyone has the diet piece in there. So if you're still, let's say like for my grandpa, I swear this guy, I cannot get him off Jif peanut butter with the hydrogenated oils, which is inflammation. So, we go out to restaurants, we get exposed to those soybean and other inflammatory oils. So keep that on your radar too. It's not just the things you see. If you go get your good steak, your good grass-fed steak somewhere, well, figuring out what they cook that in too. It's not that you have to be neurotic about it, but just figuring out, am I getting exposed to inflammatory oils there? It may not be something that's going to make or break you, but if you're trying to be that top 1% of health like we are and how we want our patients to be, you may have to have that level of microscope put on, those little factors. But I've been trying to get him over to like even an organic peanut butter.
Better,
not even off. I mean, I'm trying to even just get him off peanut butter completely and over to almonds or something. But even just getting him off the hydrogenated oils, it is insanely hard. He reads all the books. He reads all the articles I send him. He listens to the podcast. He won't do it. Grandpa, stop eating Jif peanut butter.
I know. I hear you, man. You just got to grab the low-hanging fruit. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right?
That's true.
Cool. Well, I just think the big take home is, though, if you get some pain and inflammation and you've done all the things we talked about, don't suffer for another day or two if it's something that can go away with one ibuprofen. I don't think it's worth suffering. I mean, do your best to maximize all of our options. But then if you have to use a pharmaceutical acutely like that, well, what the heck? I mean, if it gets you the quality of life back right away and you're not suffering, I think that's okay.
Yeah. I think I'm a little bit more likely to suffer like 48, 72 hours, and then I'll resort to it. Like I had some weird like tension headache. We had a bunch of weird storms roll in and my head was just pounding. I just tried to up the vitamin C, magnesium, wait for the storm to pass, and then my head got better. So it's crazy all the environmental influences that happen on these pain signals too.
Yeah.
You notice that, like when the weather's different, your joints are like, oh,
Oh yeah, I agree. Yep. The nitrogen in the joints, I think when the pressure goes down, the joint pressure goes up. So yeah, that can happen. You can have a lot of that joint pain because of it.
yeah. I
Yeah.
know you see that probably a lot when you were doing a lot more hands-on work.
Hmm.
Your hands-on, functional, applied kinesiology, all of that stuff that you would see people with pain issues more when the weather was bad.
Oh, and I can't tell you how many people that have chronic back pain and neck pain. I mean, my God, they all had terrible diets, and getting the diet dialed in was huge because they just, their fire hoses were dry. They were on empty, and they couldn't put
Yep.
out the fire.
Yep.
So I think it's important. And also building blocks like getting extra amino acids in there, like collagen or a really good clean protein powder, I think can be helpful because when people's guts are screwed up, they can't absorb nutrients. So getting some good clean collagen and aminos in there can be very helpful just to provide some easy to absorb building blocks.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
And if you want to touch upon the REM rehab stuff, I know your book. We'll give it a little plug. This is the second time today I've talked about your book.
Oh,
We
wow. Thank you.
interviewed Kevin Geary this morning here, and he plugged it because he was your co-author, which is great.
Yeah.
And REM rehab, all about sleep, getting into the deeper phases of sleep where you heal and reduce inflammation. Do you want to touch upon that?
Yeah, I suffered from sleep issues a lot, insomnia and other sleep issues when I was in college working at UPS, midnight shift to like 5 a.m. Just
Wow.
unbelievable destruction to my hormones. Everything started there. If I were to pick a turning point in my life, that was it. And I wouldn't be doing this today if I didn't do that, though. And so I wrote that book as a recovery guide. If I wrote that book to myself, essentially, and then I talked about some of the diet tweaks that I've used and researched, getting in your sulfur amino acids and things like that from your cruciferous vegetables and trying to support your natural GABA production. I kind of hit it on like the neurotransmitter route and then gave some good like basic protocols and things for sleep if it's an issue. Now, if I were to rewrite that, I would talk more about the gut because I'm finding that regardless of what you're doing for aminos, it can be a good quick fix. And I'm not going to even plug the name of the supplement, but a lot of people are taking this supplement that I don't really approve of because it's a proprietary blend and you have no idea how much melatonin and other stuff's in
Oh,
there.
I know what it is.
Yeah. And so I don't recommend that. And that's maybe a quick fix for people, but you have to look for gut infections because I was waking up in the middle of the night and I had infections. And when the infections, I'm assuming I'm at least 90% better because I'm sleeping so much deeper now. And I wouldn't have done that with just that little magic powder.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And by the way, I talked to that person over the weekend whose
Oh yeah?
unmentionable product will stay unknown. It's 300 micrograms of melatonin in that product, so that's actually pretty good. It's a good dose, about one
Okay.
third of a milligram.
Okay, good.
Yeah, just so
All
you
right.
know. And
I'll,
maybe
I'll change my mind then.
yeah, I'm going to be having this person on the show sometime soon, so it'll all be more clear then. But one last thing, probiotics can actually help reduce inflammation. I saw a study where it helped reduce cortisol. So I've really added in, the 5R program we talked about, right? Removing bad foods, replacing
Yeah.
enzymes, acids, repairing the adrenals and gut, removing infections, reinoculation. That third R, that repair R, we're starting to add in people that have a lot of gut symptoms. We'll add in the extra specific kinds of probiotics to actually reduce inflammation, and it's been worked very well.
Absolutely. That's a great finisher supplement.
People never think about probiotics as being anti-inflammatory.
And that's when you and I were looking at supplement options for me. That was something you're like, dude, you have to have the probiotic at night, not even necessarily for the reinoculation phase, just the inflammation that's going on with these parasites. That's doing some damage and we need to try to reverse it. So that's been a really good addition for me. And I did wake up maybe a month ago when I had first started and I had some weird gut stuff going on. And what I woke up and I was like, oh, I need to take a probiotic. And I took it and you could literally feel the inflammation in the gut cooling down almost instantly.
Isn't that great?
Maybe I placeboed myself a little bit, but it still worked and I know it did.
Yeah, well, the thing is, right, you can't placebo yourself to 20,000 deaths a year from ibuprofen, right?
I know.
So there's something to what's happening on the conventional side, and there's something to what's happening on the natural side. And the great thing about it is less deleterious side effects, that's for sure.
Yeah, amen.
Well, Evan, I'm going to give you the final word. Anything else?
No, that's it. I think that this was a good overview. If people like the show, please review it.
Review it.
It's very helpful. I know we have listeners around the world. It means a lot. I know every time you get the little notification on your phone for apps, please review this app. You hit no thanks. Well, don't hit no thanks for us. Review the show. It's easy. It takes 2 minutes. Go to iTunes on your phone, on your computer, and write that review. It means a lot, and it helps us make sure that we're not just talking to a wall, and that you're getting great feedback and you're learning the application steps, and that we're helping you to get to the root of any symptoms and your health goals, and just helping you do the things that you want to do in life with the vibrance that everyone needs.
No fluff, no BS, and my opinion, there's no podcast like it. So give us some feedback so we can continue to do better for everyone.
Yep.
Evan, have a great weekend, man. It's beautiful here in Austin. Enjoy Louisville.
You too. Take care.
And your new baby.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Got a question for Dr. J? Go to beyondwellnessradio.com and click the questions button. Then tune in to hear the answer. Also, if you like the show, click below to review us on iTunes. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.